Hello. Okay. I'm just going to talk. This is Snowdrops Sunsets channel. So I'm literally channeling, but I'm channeling in relation to real life experiences I've had. It kind of links with a couple of the videos that I've done, but I've actually done them and published them on other channels. So if I remember, I will link this up with that channel. And if you're interested in knowing like a different perspective about this, a bit more of a spiritual, personal growth perspective, get over to Love School. Anyway, I'm not actually here to promote Love School. I really want to talk a bit more about, again, my real life experiences and what's happening as a person who I guess just doesn't fit in with the status quo anymore. I've gone through a spiritual awakening process. I've been expressing more about that. I've completely adapted my life to my new self-awareness and then the consequences of that. Because at times they can be very real consequences. And a lot of what I see people talking about in like relation to a spiritual growth can be kind of non-tangible spiritual consequences. And I think we're rather here to experience real consequences for our decisions and what the actions we take in life. So I currently live, which would not be my first choice. I'm very grateful for where I live because I actually ended up here and it's a great place as in I'm around a lot of nature. It's really affordable place. There's a sense of community here. So there's a lot of really positive attributes for where I live, and how I ended up here was definitely a blessing. But I feel like I have potentially outgrown the space and would like to, if I had the means and the opportunity arise, to move on. So I kind of feel that friction anyway of it being a bit like I'm grateful to be where I'm at, but there's challenges going on here. So I feel like almost I'm getting ready to move on. Maybe it's not fitting in where I'm at anymore. So I live in terraces. Was a long way of saying that. I live in old miners terraces that are very close together and quite small. And I'm quite a big character at times. I like my privacy though. I very much value my privacy. And I also like to take up space. I like to, I don't know, occupy different spaces. And what works better for me, ideally, is that I have a different space for each occupation. So ideally, this would not be my setup. Ideally, I would have a room where I can do dining, and a room where I can do work, and a room where I can relax, and a room where I can do art, and a room where I can sleep. And at the minute, I've only got two rooms, so I've kind of got a sleep room and an active room, and that's how I use my space. And I've got a very small outdoor space, and I have two cats and a dog. So we take up quite a lot of space. They're outdoor animals, like they're in the house, but they can go out when they want. And my dog Daisy is a street dog. So she was adopted during the lockdowns when I had been considering getting a dog, and the lockdowns basically made I was going to get a puppy actually, and the price of it just went ridiculous due to the lockdowns and everything. And I was like, oh no, I'm not into that. And then I didn't want to spend loads of money on a dog. I don't know. I just don't I'm not particularly into breeding dogs for sale like that. So anyway, long story short, I got Daisy from abroad. They were desperate to get dogs from abroad and find them homes because of the way the situation is abroad and stuff. So anyway, it wouldn't have been my first choice of how I got a dog, but that was how it happened. Daisy is a street dog. I got her when she was about 6 months old. So she grew up initially on the streets, I think, and then in a collective dog pound enclosure with a lot of other dogs. So she's just raised slightly differently to what a English dog would be, and she's got certain instincts that mean she prefers to be outside. She's very social, but she's dog social. So she's not, like I said, she's just not like an English dog. She's just not. She's just got that street dog vibe. She likes to be a bit free. She doesn't like a dog. She tells the dog she doesn't like it. She's not aggressive. She can be very friendly with certain people and a bit standoffish with others. We work much better as a team when she's not on the lead. And I boundary trained her when I got her. So I used to take her to the community garden where I used to do work at, and she was trained to stay within the boundary, and she does that most of the time. But she's a dog. She doesn't do it all the time. She can be a little bit cheeky, which I love about her. She's a bit sassy, so she can have a bit of a bark on. She can be a bit loud sometimes, either being excited or a little bit protective. And we work together to build a relationship to try and, play down any behaviors that might disturb other people in these tiny terraces. I feel like I'm going off on one a little bit there, but I just wanted to explain like the story so you get what is about to unfold. I have been sharing about, and I'm having realizations about this idea of false idols and power, and how power has been used, and then how we've been manipulated to think that we have the right to have power over each other. And this is what I want this video to be about. It's going to be called Surveillance and Freedom, or something along those lines. And one, it's a little bit scary when you consider the past, but we need to let go of the past. I think like I say, I've been talking about that, letting go of the past, but we should learn from the past. Now, in the past, Nazi Germany and things, for example, communist countries, for example, where we know real atrocities have occurred, this idea of surveilling each other and controlling each other, to me, is a bit scary. So I am an advocate for freedom, and I've had to do a lot of shadow work around what that means. In my heart, I'm an anarchist. I think we are sovereign beings and we should be able to consent to the laws that we live under. You shouldn't have to be enforced to follow a certain law if you don't agree with it. If you really like, well, this is going to harm me, or it's going to harm something I'm responsible for, this is not making sense, there should be some sort of discourse around the laws that we're bound by. And in some ways that's what democracy is supposed to be, but we definitely don't live in a democracy anymore, I don't think. So to me, anarchism is a way of living where we all have personal sovereignty and we work together to agree certain laws that keep each other safe. But people should, and if they're responsible enough and held accountable enough, be able to live their lives with a fair amount of freedom and agreements onto what laws we follow. However, what we're living in right now is something very different, I think. There is a lot of surveillance going on. Don't have to tell you now. We're literally talking through video screens. There's cameras everywhere. We record, I don't record everything, but a lot of people record everything. Just look on TikTok and that's crazy. People like literally recording their lives, getting out of bed, what they're eating, for the tea, and their kids publishing records of their lives online and things. We are literally like monitoring our lives and living our lives through a lens. And we kind of think we're entitled to do that now, and we have a right to record each other and publish each other's lives and interfere in each other's lives. And that is quite scary, I think, because it's being done in a way to try a way of judgment. We're publishing each other and saying, is this right or wrong? Is this good or bad? Look what this person's doing. What do you think about what I'm doing? It's like this whole kind of like judging each other thing, deciding if there's like a certain way we need to be, or the right way to be, and all that. It's all a little bit weird. It's all very suppressing of our personal expression, suppressing of diversity, suppressing of culture, and it's a little bit dodgy territory. I think interesting what's unfolding. Then the next stage is this like reporting, right? Like shaming other people. Look what this person did, reporting people to authorities, gathering evidence of people and their behaviors. And it's very childhood tittle tatty. Like people don't even have the balls, right, to like see something they don't like and then confront something about it. They'll record you and then report you to the authorities. And to be fair, I'm pretty sure most of the authorities do not give. They don't really care. They just get all these fucking reports of people whining about other people that they have to share space with. And then trying to use that threat of control, of authority, of external power to suppress us and to keep us under control, to control us, to control our behaviors, control how we move in the world, control our expression, control our choices, all that. And what happened to me was Daisy goes out. I let her out on a morning when the weather's okay, when the weather's dry. She goes out and because I'm quite at the bottom of the terrace, I can kind of see across the road. So she's not allowed on the road. She's not supposed to be on the road. And we have to do some training to keep her off the road. But she is allowed on the alleyway, down to the road, on the path before the road. And there's some garages on the other side that have like a bigger path, if you like, where, driveway bit. She's allowed to sit there. So basically, she's allowed to sit outside on the street where I can see her. And when I'm at home, when the door's open, where I can hear her. And then if she does start barking or whatever, I can go out and find out what's going on. If every now and then I'll pop out and just make sure she's still there listening and she's still in the boundary and everything like that. We've done that for a couple of months, basically, because since I didn't have transport, since I didn't have my car, we have not been as active. And both of us like to be out and about and adventuring. And when I had the car, we would go out pretty much every day, or at least 5 days a week. We'd go somewhere. There's a lot of places around here, like woodlands, walks, different things like that. So we were generally both very used to being environmentally stimulated. And since we haven't got the car, we're kind of stuck in this small space, and both of us would really rather not. We have got the woods and stuff around, so don't worry, I do take the dog for a nice good walk twice a day in the woods and in the local area. I'm just talking about being a bit more free, just being free to have new experiences, new environments, that sort of thing. So Daisy was getting a bit stressed. She was getting a bit anxious. She was starting to guard the place a lot more. So she was barking a lot, people walking past. And obviously that wasn't ideal. People were getting frightened because she was like jumping up the fence barking and things. She was trying to get out, and all of that street dog instinct was just taking over. So anyway, the compromise was, I thought, well, I'll boundary train her and she can stay on the path and I can see her. And to be fair, it was going really well. Not perfect, very well though. She doesn't like certain people. She does have a little bark. If there's certain dogs and things, she's like, no, I'm not keen on you. And I'm training her to come home rather than do that, rather than bark on, just come home and feel safe. And then she can go back out again. She sees people she likes. She gets really excited. So she has a bit of bark. But anyway, got off one again. My neighbour, who was a new neighbour, by the way, so I've been here 5 years. Daisy's been here 4 years. And this guy's been here 6 months. My neighbour moved in, decided he didn't like Daisy, obviously decided he didn't like me, which I had no idea about, and has been recording us. He's been recording us to gather evidence, which I found out because I confronted him, because he wasn't doing this, obviously. He was sneaking around doing it. And a couple of times I thought, is he recording? And I thought, no. And then I asked some people, I thought, I think my neighbour's recording us. What do you think? Should I confront him? And they were like, maybe it's not, just leave it. And then I seen him again doing it, sneaking around. I thought, no, I'm quite not confrontational, but I would rather know the truth. I'd rather know what's going on and just deal with it, human to human, right? Rather than through some third party. So anyway, he was really angry at me, and said some very personal, nasty things, was really angry at Daisy, was really hateful towards us both, said he was going to sue us, said he was gathering evidence to report us because our behavior was illegal, and blah, blah, in a very nasty, angry way. And I was trying to talk it through with him. He wasn't hearing us because he was so angry. I was trying to like talk him through it and calm him down and make him see that actually the reason that we live like that is because it's better for both of us, better for me, it's better for Daisy. It's not harming anyone, doesn't cause any difference. Like Daisy's going to bark whether she's in the house or not if she hears somebody, walking past that she's not keen on. She's going to protect our property, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. She's going to be barking with excitement if somebody she knows walks past. It's just what she does. I'm not going to suppress her expression of I'm thinking something is a threat or something is exciting to her. Like, I'm just not going to do that. And it's just kind of sparked this whole thing about being free. Now, are we free? And the freedom that we create, and how are we creating freedom for each other? And how are we going to create freedom without this idea of monitoring each other, without this idea of, I call them false idols, like giving power to authorities, false authorities we've created, taking power away from God, taking power away from ourselves, taking power away from what actually we need as living beings, and putting it into a bit of paper. A bit of paper that was decided by a certain type of person sitting in a certain type of environment, deciding what is best for everybody else. And I don't agree with that at all. So if I'm part of a democracy, if I'm supposed to be in a free country, I'm in the UK, which is what we're supposed to be a free democratic society, then I should have the right to decide what space I take up in my community, how I use that space, and be responsible for my dog and respond to my dog's needs and decide that for myself. Like, and yes, I'm aware there's certain laws and things that are not even laws, legal constitutions, I don't think that's the right word, I've lost the word, but legal things in place that have been put in there for a reason, yeah, to prevent dogs from roaming, and we want people to be responsible for their dogs. But it's not as if I'm being irresponsible. I'm watching it and we have our own relationship. I'm not making these decisions from a place of stupidity and ignorance, which is what's suggested. Like, I've considered these decisions that I'm making, and I am absolutely 100% clear about the reasons why I'm doing it, why it's in the best interests, taking responsibility for her when out, making decisions moment to moment, day to day, what's best, whether she's in or out. And I'm definitely committed to seeing through the consequences of this. I am completely responsible for my choices, and I'm completely responsible to be accountable for whatever Daisy's doing out there. You know, I'm not afraid of the consequences of my decisions. I've made them consciously. So, is that the level of freedom that I should be allowed as an adult? I think so. But apparently my neighbours don't. Or at least some of my neighbours. Most of my neighbours don't care. Most of my neighbours love Daisy. Even the ones that don't love what I'm doing or don't love Daisy touch and shake their head and walk past and mind their own business, as they should. But it was just really funny for me to think about being monitored. I don't monitor other people. I don't do that. I don't do that behavior. I have in the past recorded certain things, but more for my own protection. When I've been had confrontations with certain people that I've been concerned about what might happen, I have recorded them, but it's not something like I would go around and do often. I wouldn't record people living their lives, and if I did have a problem with what someone was doing, I would probably mention it to them. I would certainly, I guess, speak to other people and see if there's a few of us that have a problem. You know, deal with it in the community, deal with it face to face. That's the kind of person that I am. I prefer to just deal with it ourselves as adults. So yeah, it just made me think. I just wanted to reflect a little bit about that, about the reality of what happens when you do step out of certain conditions. Where are we headed in society in the UK? What kind of society are we trying to create here? Are we free? I don't know if we are free anymore. That's a bit of one of these illusions. And how do we counteract that? And if it's not through our own steps for freedom, or if it is our own steps of freedom of choosing to operate sometimes outside of these legal structures and things, how do we cope with these monitoring, surveillance, creepy stuff that's going on? So yeah, I just want to share that. I would love to have a conversation about it. Let us know in the comments if you've had any similar experiences or what you think. Please don't, like, I really am not going to feed a space where we're all bitching about each other and then judging each other. You'll notice I didn't do that. I haven't tried to create this video to be bitching about my neighbour and what he did. I'm sure he's got his reasons. He obviously is in whatever place where he feels like a dog barking is a really stressful event in his life. So I have a lot of compassion for him. Not that that's my problem, but I don't want a bitch fest. I don't want anything like that. I'm just saying, if you want to share experiences, let's have a conversation about this in more of a future focused. How do we create freedom and respect each other, especially when we're being forced to live in such like close quarters and things, and navigating a new world where the old systems really do seem to be struggling under the strain of their own trajectory of surveillance and monitoring. And what does it all mean? Oh my God. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. I've been published some poetry and things on here as well, so please have a look at the poetry and like the poetry and share it. Thank you. Bye.